has really raised the awareness and raised the frequency of humanity here to a point where they can see beyond the darker, energetic, lower vibrational form deceptions are much easier to see. And that's my viewpoint and perception of things. So I, for one, as horrific as a lot of this is and how many people are dying and being very impacted by this in so many ways, the bright side of this and the brilliant silver lining of all this is that people are waking up and something is happening to the point where people are able to see it now like they weren't able to before. So I, for one, am thankful for that. And here we are. By virtue of that, we're on this call and we're talking about something dramatic and transformational that's happening across the world. And in our backyard and in our front yard and in our world yard.
I'm muted, Marco, and you might want to come around and see this angle
people
too.
People are becoming aware by virtue of
the host's face.
How
well, I'm recording you,
is by how it's
so I figured that way,
that we're stuck in some kind of a swirl that we need to become more aware of. And by virtue of brilliant teachers like Robert Michael and Marcia Ann, who that are deeply in my inner sanctum and great teachers for me right now, and I'm doing my best to bring this forward. We're able to see more clearly through what these constructs look like and how we can move out of those constructs. And what I mean by the constructs, for the ones that may be kind of new to this or new to the call or just need to hear it again, we have been coerced and cleverly, unwittingly moved into a series of contracts, and that's kind of the simple form. We've been taken away through deception, away from our kingship and queenship of this beautiful land, and moved into a series of constructs that really takes away our rights and moves us into privileges and it kind of benefits so long as we play along with the contractual game. And what's going on right now, and part of what the PMA Weekly has been about specifically, is shedding a little bit of light on the public, which is the municipal corporate construct where the contracts have power over us, and moving out of that construct into the private. So this PMA Weekly is about having discussions and bringing on some teachers.
Did you want the little tripod that's in the case there?
On these constructs in the private. So we talk about unincorporated associations, a variety of different trusts, which is more and more becoming a hot topic, and church ministry structures under 508C1A specifically. So there's all kinds of different perspectives. There's all kinds of people doing all kinds of different things. What makes most sense to me, as what I'm calling myself kind of an average person who's been an entrepreneur all of my life, aware of the nefarious nature of things, and maybe not to the depths of brilliant souls like Robert Michael and Marcia, but my heart has the intelligence to inform me that knowing thyself, what's the word I'm looking for?
I'm looking for my tripod, the one I had yesterday there.
It's substance over form. That's what I'm looking for. Getting back to the substance of the self is always going to be more powerful than the form. And the form is the paper. The form is the contract. The knowingness of the form is what gives us the substance. So I love Robert and Marcia's teaching, and I'm the one who actually brought them together initially with the dinner that we had, and I sat them together on purpose so that they could be in each other's field, and they just bonded. Their biggest teaching is getting back to the foundation of the self. Knowing who you are, the divine emissary, is the most important thing to get and to ground yourself in. And once you ground yourself there, then the form can support you. And so many other people that I've been tracking over the years, and a lot of people that move down the rabbit hole of, I really believe it's fear, it's driven by fear, is that they want to lean into the form. They want to lean into the super intellectual element of things, and that ends up getting people in trouble ultimately because they don't know who they are. And when you don't know who you are, then you're not able to speak the natural language, or some people call it the quantum language. It really is just about the language of the heart and knowing yourself. So with that, I wanted to share a couple of things. I'm hoping I sent out. I was up really late last night, but this morning, and I sent an email out to everybody because I'm excited about this private trust program and the Wisdom's Calling, Liberty, the Blessings of Liberty program.
Thanks.
That Marcia Ann and Dr. Desi have put together. And I know I've been talking about this for several weeks, and it's just taken a while to kind of get my poop in a group to get this thing out to everyone. So I finally launched it out to everyone, kind of as a soft launch. We still have some things to work out, but the substance is there. And I highly recommend anyone, specifically if you're interested in some form of trust, which I'd imagine that anyone who has any awareness of this is going to find their way into a trust one way or another, whether it's through protecting your real estate assets, your land assets, or you're going to move into some kind of a pure trust with an unincorporated association, because perhaps you already have an existing business and you want to keep certain structures in place. A trust is going to fall in your lap one way or another. And so it's a program that I recommend everybody go through, because one, it's going to help you. The more we stay into the field of this, the more immersive we are in this, the more we're going to be able to pick up on this and be able to speak the language and know ourselves and walk in the world and have that form work for us. So, the private trust program, you can pick up that if you want to. It's $250 to go through that entire course. And then there's a foundational course, which is the Wisdom's Calling, the Blessings of Liberty, which is, in my opinion, a hand-in-glove educational program that goes hand-in-glove with what Robert Michael is teaching. So it's kind of the roots of what's underneath what Robert Michael picks up on from the end of what Marcia teaches. So it gets back to War Powers Act, Enemy of the Estate Act, how these contracts have been utilized through those to give us permissions to move about the country instead of us leaning into our rights, our unalienable rights. It's very, very cleverly done. So she gets into the deeper side of things and gives you a proper foundation before you even get into the brilliant works with Robert Michael. So my recommendation is go through all of it. Just immerse yourself in all of it, and you'll come out a lot brighter and a lot more confident in all of these processes of how we're all moving forward with these things. So I sent it out in the email. If you haven't opened the email, just open the email, read through it, check out the website, scope it out. My recommendation is just to get those programs and go through them and be patient with yourself. As a lot of you know, if you're just new to this, it can be a little bit mind-boggling. But the more you stay in that frequency, the easier it becomes to be able to walk in it and see it more clearly. So with that stated, I wanted to make some announcements. I kind of threw a blurb there at the bottom of the email. The next House of Marcus seminar is going to be March 19th and 20th in Arizona. Yeah, it's super overwhelming. Wow, it's actually popping up on my phone. This is fun. So it's happening in Arizona on the 19th and 20th I'll send a link out to everybody. I know where it is, but I can't think of the actual specific location, but it's in the White Mountains of Arizona. Big, beautiful, gorgeous White Mountains of Arizona. It's going to be a 2-day seminar. The first day is going to be all deep dive educational stuff with Robert Michael, and then the second day is going to be more workshopping. So we have learned through the past seminars that we've done, glad you lived, Erica, yay, is that throughout the entire first day, people see the value in it and they get it and they're resonating and they're excited, like, wow, holy shit, that was amazing. Now what do I do? So we want to take that, now what do I do, and move it into the second day. So The first day you can take it all in and assimilate. The second day you come in and we can help with that assimilation process and put it into some form of action. So that is 19th and 20th. Just be prepared. I'll send you that information soon. there is a big announcement. Yes, now what? Yeah, exactly. It really is a big question. So we're learning as we go. We're learning as we're doing this. There's no blueprint. We're creating the blueprint. April 30th, Saturday and Sunday, April 30th, May 1st. I don't have the location plotted out. It's going to be in San Diego. That seems to be pretty clear. There is a big seminar conference that I'm developing, and it's going to, as it stands right now, we have Robert Michael, Marcia Ann, Mike Colomb, Christopher Life, and Kevin Jenkins confirmed. It's going to be a 2-day event. We're going to be doing deep dives with Robert and Michael, going into these constructs, going into the historical.
That's some all-stars, man. Holy cow, talking, right here in San Diego.
Step into your divine emissary.
Yeah.
And a big part of it is really talking about what's going on in this movement and what people are actually doing in this movement, and to talk about solutions and support structures for other people to be part of this movement. So, still working out some of the details. Adrienne Youngblood, who's a brilliant and established documentary filmmaker, will be filming this as part of a documentary she's doing with me on this very construct. So there is a documentary in process of being structured, and this will, to everyone, yeah, Marcia, thank you. So this event in San Diego will be part of the capturing of this documentary, as we're talking about the structures that are forming, why the movement is happening, how the movement is happening, who are some of the players, what are some of the constructs from these new healing hubs, these private wellness centers, and all these energy devices and new facilities that are developing, these learning centers, the players of the learning centers, financial systems, working on bringing in Catherine Austin Fitz, Foster Gamble, Mickey Willis, and actually trying to get JP Sears to come in as well. So it's going to be quite an event, working on all these things. I just wanted to start throwing that into the field, one, for the process of manifestation, the other, so people can prepare themselves. So we've got several months, and I'm looking at this place called the Balboa Theater. It's a beautiful theater in San Diego. Some of you might be familiar with it. So anyway, working on all that stuff. Next week, Marcia Ann will be joining us. We are going to be talking pretty specifically about trusts and taxation. That is an important topic. A lot of people's minds get all boggled about how we navigate the trust part. So there's a lot to wrap the mind around in how you navigate and why you navigate as a church and ministries, and very importantly, how you operate as a church and ministries, which is what keeps you safe, and how you respond or responsibly respond to anything that comes at you is your power. That's truly your safeguard. And one of the things that Robert and the House of Marcus are working on is that library of responses. It does help people become more confident and secure in things. So all that stuff is in play. I can't stress enough how going through these courses and informing yourself and empowering yourself will help you be more responsible. And I love, because Marcia's the one who brings that language to me. The way you respond is your responsibility and your power. And I'm definitely realizing through things that are popping up, how you respond to things is exactly how you keep out of the jurisdiction of the court. And it really is about cleverly putting the onus on them and saying, you need to show me how you have jurisdiction over me. And then when you do, I'm glad to help you in any way possible. But first, you got to show me this. And that's kind of the premise of a lot of it. And it's how you navigate that. And there's similar language that can be used that works on pretty much any instance. It really is about keeping out of their jurisdiction. So next week, Marcia Ann will be with us. We're going to talk about taxation. And there's all different ways that you navigate or don't navigate taxation through trusts. So I wanted to make everybody aware of that, spread that far and wide. It will be an important call next week in regards to taxation. So we'll get into all that good stuff next week. I do want to, again, just really express to everybody how important it is to continue your education process. I know by virtue of you being on the call here, that is what you're doing. And I'm going to keep enforcing as I'm learning that the most important thing is how you learn how to respond. You can have, and I've even learned this just through something that happened last year, you can have a structure that is okay written, and you could actually almost not operate well. You could really screw up in your operations and get called out, and you could still be safeguarded by how you respond. I'm not recommending that's how you go about it. However, until we, so some people, I get a lot of people say, well, can you give me some examples? Can you give me a reference? Can you give me 100 people that have done this and they're successful? And like, you know what? So if this is what we want, if this is what the people want, this is what we have. And we boldly, courageously move forward with what it is that we want, because we are the body politic. This is what we want. This is our world, our land. And if we move together in what we want, then we hold that power and we get what we want. And that is now my response to people. They're always wanting references so they can feel safe. So, sorry if that's hard hitting for some of you. Move forward, follow your heart. Don't follow the fear. I'm going to try to see what time it is. Oh, wow. I've been jibber-jabbering. It's 11:06. I want to try my best to open this up to some questions, and I'm hoping that I can hear you and that I can navigate this well. So feel free.
It's
Carlin,
usually only a
please,
half hour. That's how tight they are.
Maybe help me unmute or navigate that, because I really can't see the screens.
Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah,
Okay, for sure, I can do that.
Yeah, thanks. So anybody, we'll take a few questions and then we'll end the call. Thank you again for your patience.
Let me know what your question
Lauren.
is so I know how to introduce
she
you.
left.
And I'll let
I thought she
a
had some
couple other
questions.
questions go first.
Okay, anybody have some questions?
I do.
Hang on, let him. All right, what's your question? What do you think?
Well, how can I help them, because I'm local?
Monica.
Monica, okay. Monica, unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you for answering my question. So, we have a landscaping
It won't
business.
zoom because you're in super steady
How would
mode.
that navigate through the PMA to have to convert it to the PMA as a landscaping business? Because right now you have LLC, and we operate everything under LLC, but obviously we want to, change that.
Yeah, so,
And he knows I'm in
Yeah,
San
go ahead.
Diego, so.
No, that's it. That's it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
well, there's a couple of different ways that I believe you could structure that. One, if you really have quite an establishment, in other words, established or branded name, then what you might be able to do is build a trust, build a pure trust, and you have the trust be the management company of your LLC.
Okay.
And you don't necessarily need to structure some kind of an association within that. You just have a trust that becomes the managing partner or the managing hired entity of the LLC structure. And what you do is you just navigate your taxes normally through your LLC, but you have everything as a loss because your trust is absorbing, I'm just going to use the term profits, because they become the primary expense of the LLC as the management company. And there's no law or rule that says you can pay something too much or too little. That's based on how you want to navigate your company. Now, that's the reason I'm stating that is because usually the safest thing to do when you're moving something from the public to the private, it really is safer for you to completely change your name. And obviously, if you're a service, you're not really changing your location, you're just changing your name. And that's the safest thing, because they can come at you and say, hey, listen, you're just doing the same thing. You just changed titles, right? And then they have means to attack you and pester you. So to avoid that, you just change your name. So now, if you're comfortable, if you're not very big and you're just starting out, then just go ahead and change your name, start the structure, and solve your LLC.
Michael Batrano,
and then you can
Batrano.
either do it as a pure trust in a membership, unincorporated association, and then you just have all of your clients become members, and they're the beneficiaries of the membership. Okay. So, does that make sense? Does that help you?
Yeah. It's just do you help to navigate through the paperwork and all that stuff through the process that you guys do with the PMA or the trust?
Say that one more time. So I got to plug my phone in. It's going to die. My apologies. I got to turn my light off.
Okay.
All on the same cord.
My question was that the program that you have helping with the trust and the PMA, I could navigate through that. What are you offering?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In other words, if you're wanting us to assist you in the process, absolutely, we can help you develop that. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, Monica, if you would, just because my circumstance is a little odd with my technology, would you mind in the chat box below, put your name, phone number, and email.
He already knows,
and then Karma can collect that, and then I can reach out to you. If you don't mind doing that while we're in the call, that would be great. That way I can be sure to get with you.
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
Thank you. And that goes with anybody else. If you're wanting to go a little bit deeper with, a little bit of a one-on-one learning, or if you've got a group of people and you're wanting to go deeper into unincorporated associations, different forms of trust structures and 508c1a structures, which all of those can work hand in hand. It's not one or the other. They can all work together as a single entity as well. If you're ready to move forward, some of those want to go deeper and you're serious about moving from the public to the private, just leave a message in the chat box below. We'll collect those. And your phone number is really important, even before your email. So email, phone number, email, name, and we'll be able to get back with you. So let's continue. Any other questions for anybody?
Well, there is a question in the chat.
I don't know what your question is, because he already knows our circumstances. I'm already working with him.
We are creating an enrichment center running into the issue of liability insurance.
And I want to go ahead and fast track. I want to go to Arizona.
We are a school. I'm trying to tell them that we are a private club. Is this the best way to describe what we are for liability insurance to rent buildings?
I can probably navigate this for him.
And I'll just connect you two directly.
That's
just what you
are.
The
thing is, his battery's dying.
And it's okay for you to say
it's over his time.
We're not a school. A school is like a co-opt, municipal corporate terminology that's just easy for them to play games with you. So yeah, really, that's your truth of the matter is
it'll be more
you're
powerful.
a private club, and you just stand by that. So that's one thing. The other thing is, if they keep giving you hassle, let me know. There is a private, and I'm sorry, I'm going to stumble on this because I had a meeting on it this morning. I had a meeting with somebody. It was actually Mike Colomb. I spoke to him earlier this morning, and he is working with a group of people that's setting up a private insurance company, or they might be calling it an assurance company, for ones that feel they need that. And what I mean by that is, in the very, very near future, part of this process of not just protecting our businesses, but protecting our straw man, is going through the process of becoming the administrator or the power of attorney of our straw man, which is that corporate structure that we were registered into unwittingly when we were born. Okay, it's that birth certificate process, right? When you become the power of attorney of that trust, it gives you another level of protection of attack. So if they attack and they try to come through the PMA and all those trust structures and they can't permeate those, they try to come after your straw man. And when you have power of attorney, it gives you more ability to protect yourself. So moving forward with that, part of that process also makes you the administrator of the trust, so you can use that as charge-offs. And eventually what we're working on is gaining direct access to those trusts So you don't need insurance. You are your own insurance because you have everything that you need to take care of anything you need financially. So consider that process. If you haven't gone through that, you haven't informed yourself, I need to figure out how to do that. I have to look. Everything's changing so fast now. I'm confused about where you can access that. But if you want to learn more about that, I can give you access to the seminar, the all day long seminar with Robert Michael, which goes into that whole process, explaining where it comes from, and you can learn yourself how you can become through foundational documents and how you record them, how you can become power of attorney of your trust and navigate all that stuff. So if you want to learn, leave a message in the chat box, phone number and your email, and I'll get back to you and I'll figure out how to get you that information, because the We the People Unified.us is being shifted into the next series of seminars, and I don't think you can access the videos there anymore. And I say I don't know because so much shit's been moving so fast. I don't know where we are in some of these because I'm not the one who does that. It's my tech guys. So anyway, thanks for bearing with me. All right, so any other questions?
Again, see, what's your question?
I already told you.
Yeah, but it's not appropriate. We have the direct channel. You're going straight past this.
I want to talk to them.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Good to see you.
I want to pay. I want to go ahead and do this.
We will. We'll arrange it.
When I introduce, Michael, if you remember, I was
be a little bit more
last time we
polished
talked,
if
so
we do it through an
I'm
email,
in
through
it.
text.
Yay.
Yeah.
You're affiliated with me. Right now, it looks a little scruffy and
for you.
The line
unpolished.
between public and private, and I'm entrenched in the paperwork for becoming power of attorney over my straw man or myself and my children. So here's my question. My husband and I are thinking about purchasing a vehicle for the ministry, specifically like a van of sorts for my retreats that I do. And I'm feeling some sort of way about tax and insurance and all of that stuff. Like if you can give me any advice on that, I know that's kind of a big one, but, and there's probably a ton of different answers, but yeah, just anything that you might have to share on the privacy there.
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing on that, and this is just my quick opinion. Pick your battles. So as you're in the process of really gaining the deeper knowingness of who you are and getting into, I'm just going to use the divine language or the quantum language, to where you can speak your deepest truth as you're traveling, and you know that you're a traveler, you know that you're not in commerce, you know that you're not in their jurisdiction, and you don't need your car to be registered. You don't need to give your car to the state and then they give you permission to use your own vehicle. Until you can speak that, pick your battles. It's okay. It doesn't really cost that much money for you to navigate in the registered process. And, you know, when the time comes and you feel confident there, then you can unregister that. You can like hold on to that power. I just like me, even Robert Michael, he still has his car tagged and has his license, because why do we want to get pulled over 3 times a day and have to deal with that shit? Let's wait till there's more of a mass of us, and then we do it all at the same time, and then they're like, fuck, we're not doing this anymore. So I'm just saying, pick your battles. It doesn't affect you, really. It's not like suddenly, because your car's registered, that now you're in the jurisdiction and they're going to, you know, that suddenly everything you're working on isn't valid. That's not true. That's not true.
That was my worry. That was my worry. If I went through the public process for the ministry vehicle, that I was then backtracking or backpedaling somehow. But you saying that really makes me feel much better, so that's all I need. But I do hope for one day for that to be the thing. I hope for all of us one day to choose it and just stick it to the people.
That's what we're working on. That's really what we're working on. And something that we can talk about later and you can learn later is, as you're gaining more of those rolling assets and those other assets, it might be a good idea for you to put those assets into a trust that the ministry is the trustee of. And because it protects it, because if anybody ever tries to come after the ministry in any way, or somebody gets hurt, or anything ever happens, they at least they can attack. Or if somebody's out in the vehicle and they, God forbid, get into a wreck and somebody gets hurt or something happens, they can't come after anything else because the trust is not owned by anybody. I mean, the vehicle is not owned by anybody. It's owned. It's being.
So you want to make sure that
you want to listen to them.
Trust. So it can't go beyond that.
And next week's call will help a little with my navigating understanding of that, right? With the call that we're doing next week.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And you can also go. Did you get the email that I sent?
I did, and I'm definitely going. I think I'll purchase both of them when the time comes that they're available for purchase.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, they're available to get now. You can get them. You can go onto the link.
Okay.
And you can get them both.
I'm gonna
now.
put on a hat because I didn't cut my hair.
Later, but I recommend start going through the trust one right now because that will help you in all the structures that you're developing right now. It'll help you just with deepening your confidence.
Okay.
Just anyway. So to everyone who's on the call, if you're not aware that you can purchase those now, you can donate towards those right now. You can go to those links and get them. So keep on that educational immersion. Thanks for your question, Mary. I appreciate you. Good to see you again.
You're still recording, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, a couple more questions, and then we'll call it a call.
Jonathan, go ahead.
So you want to ask your question, right?
Hey, Jonathan.
Okay.
I'm hanging in there. Thanks.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. Go for it.
Okay, I can't think of any questions for myself right now because that would take forever. But I had a couple people asking me how to navigate trying to keep a license. Like one dude's some kind of a health practitioner or something, and he said like 5% of his clientele use insurance. I mean, I'll probably send them to you guys, but what should I tell them as far as LLC or this is from over at Robert's Community? People asking me that.
Well, that's all I can do is share with you with what other people are doing. So what a lot of physicians are doing of all forms is they're giving their license back to the AMA. They're cutting the contract with the state and the Fed because it's a contract. It doesn't take away their degree. It doesn't take away their education and their knowledge to help people. It just cuts the contract away from them and keeps the FDA out of their jurisdiction. And then they set up private constructs and have everybody come underneath the veil of the protected private. So the FDA or nobody else even needs to know what it is that you're talking about or doing behind the veil of privacy. So that's one thing that some people are doing. Others are, kind of like I stated earlier, they're keeping their LLC and they're keeping their license in the LLC, and they're still practicing medicine, and they're having a trust be the management company of the LLCs. They're navigating in protective ways of that trust where the funds go into the trust. However, that doesn't stop the state or the feds or anybody from coming in and telling that physician or doctor or practitioner what they can and can't do. They still have complete control over everything. And if they want to come in and shut you down or fine you or arrest you, they still can. So I'm personally supporting the ones that are giving their licenses back boldly, and they're moving themselves into the private, and they're being concierge doctors, and they're helping people with wellness, and they're stepping away from the medical establishment altogether. So that's what I have to.
Okay, thank you. So how then would they deal, or you would probably have to cut ties with the customers that wanted to pay with insurance, right?
Well, yes and no. As I was stating, something that's being developed right now for this very reason, for people that still need to navigate insurance, is there's a new private insurance or assurance company that is being developed. It's already actually engaged. I just got to get the data and send it out to everybody. So, you know what you can do, my brother, is leave me a message in the chat box with your name, phone number, and email, and the reason of what your question was, and I'll get back to you directly. I'll call you directly, and I will maybe connect with you and some of your people and talk to them about these structures, and then talk to them about this new insurance company that's coming out, so maybe people can transition.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I saw somebody had a question. Hi, Michael. Just a moment, Michael. There's somebody else, and I don't see her now. Who was that?
Yeah, that was Erica.
Erica, yeah. Where did she go?
She left.
I wonder if she's still here. Oh, no, I see her.
Oh.
I'm here.
Erica,
my phone cut out. I was just curious if you could repeat what you said about the driving without registration, because to be really honest, my life fell apart when my mom died, and I started my business 15 years ago without really knowing what I've been doing, so I've been out running around very loosey-goosey in the world of it, and I learned a lot, and now that I see how the game is played, I don't want to play the way that I was. And so I've let go of my car insurance. I let go of my registration. You know, I sat with the threats they sent me about, you know, the fines, and I'm like, okay.
Wow, can I identify with all that?
It's not mine. But I know that there is a proper way to handle that if I get pulled over, and I just was wondering if you could repeat that again, because I know that there's a way to say it without, like, and I don't even have to give them my license, and I can just say, well, like, I know there's a trick to turning it around to, like, I don't have to, why do I have to prove to you who I am? That's that whole thing.
Well, that's a deeper, longer conversation that I don't necessarily, that's not really the purpose of these particular calls.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm truthfully, I'm not the absolute best person to help navigate that quantum language, that language of the divine. And I don't, so what I can do is, again, if you want to send me if you want to put that information in the chat box, I will get you that information so you can empower yourself with that. Because there are a couple of people that language it so freaking well, and you could just listen to what they're saying, 10 times, write it down, get it into your heart's mind, and then practice it. So I'm definitely willing to give you those resources. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'll put my information. Thank you very much for everybody else who's messaging me as well. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, everybody. So, we'll take one more question. I see, Michael, you've got your hand up. Good to see you again, brother.
Introduce me.
Hey, man, ditto. I got a two-part for you. One, I have to ask, did the Freedom Angels videos resurface?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't looked. I'm so sorry. It's kind of funny. Actually, the Freedom Angels are going to be with us tomorrow here in Nevada City, so I'll ask them.
Yeah, it's really nerve-wracking after our last conversation. So, folks, I am now I'm publicly saying I am committed to helping in March and April pull the Southern California communities together and get your message out to people that don't even know they need it.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk to you directly about marketing materials and how we can best do that. I'm currently in San Diego, but I've got great contacts with Los Angeles and Orange counties also. And so there's a lot of work to do. And I want to introduce you to Marco. I'm here with him right now. And so he has a question.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Marco.
I wanted to help you be your boots on the ground here in San Diego when you set up the event. You said something about Balboa Park?
Well, Balboa Theater.
Oh, Balboa Theater?
Okay. I'm open to look. by the way.
All right, yeah. So I'd like to be your boots on the ground. I'm a real estate broker. I'm a graduate of the Real Estate Mentors with that basically took me all over the United States to learn private offering instead of public offerings in the stock market. So I'm familiar with a lot of these concepts that you're working on, and I would like to be very involved. I have $3,500 that I got from COVID relief that I want to go ahead and shelter and put it into possibly Michael, a 508, and then start a commune. We have somebody that has a place, and so I want to pay for the courses that you're offering. I want to immerse myself in it. I signed up for, I don't know if you can see it. I signed up with Kevin Jenkins at the last rally that we had, and I joined his organization, the Freedom Travel Alliance. You're familiar with Kevin Jenkins because you mentioned him.
Yep.
And I got his video up on YouTube because I do a video. I'm with the Beverly Hills Academy of IRL. So I'm also setting up a school, and part of my big thing is I'm getting people like Michael here. I'm helping him get a grant so that he can join me in this venture, and I'm going to basically hopefully get him $3,500 like I got, and I got a couple other people, and we want to pull it together so that basically we can distance ourselves from it and then run it as an organization. So I have the money to go ahead full blast on this. I'm very knowledgeable about these kind of things because I spent $25,000 for that course, to learn private offerings.
So one example of the resources and connections and networks that we're pulling together. So we'll be networking everybody together.
So that's the kind of, and I have an urgent need to do this because, I just need to do it now. There's and everything is on the boat. So I've asked Michael to, put my number in there, and so you can add me to your calls. My name is marco.lunaman@gmail.com, and I'm a public figure. My number is 310-721-0501, and I also did record this so that I could use it myself, but I would like later on to get permission so that I can, help you get the word out. I'm talking to Stephanie Johnson from Reopen San Diego because I've been, on this because I'm saying, hey, I understand these concepts because I paid a lot of money to do, what Wall Street does, with private offerings. And so I want to get on board. And she's saying, oh, okay, well, we got somebody coming. And then Michael comes on and he tells me that he knows you. And I go, hey, well, that's what I need to do. So I want to go to Arizona. I think you're having something. So I'm all on board. It's like, I'm your new disciple. So I can, help you with a lot of stuff on this because I'm already familiar with a lot of it.
Okay, so thank you for all that. I really super appreciate that and look forward to working with you. And I'm not somebody who sits on anything. So, Michael, if you would, I'm going to go ahead and end the call here. Michael, if you would, just feel free to share his direct contact. Feel free to give my information to him, and let's engage that conversation today.
Of course. You got it, buddy.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's catch up later. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the call. I've got to move on to some other meetings today. We're at 11:23. Again, I thank everybody for your interest, following your hearts, your intelligence. I appreciate everything that everybody's doing. I've never felt more on purpose in my life, and I'm excited to see so many people that are also doing the same thing, and I'm glad to be a support structure for what's happening. So spread the word. I will send out some emails and continue the process of making people aware of the new